There, Loy Machedo Sweeney from LoyMachedo.com. Who is Loy Machedo? Think Personal Branding. It's 3:09 in the morning, that is Thailand time. I had received this update, I think, before I slept at around 9:30, but I was sleepy. Anyway, wanted to make a video on this. Barclays wins right to claw back 131 million from NMC founder BR Shetty. Okay, let me get this proper. This beard is too big, man. Yeah. Okay, don't like it. Okay. So it seems the UAE Exchange Centre, reneged? I'll put the article maybe one side, this side or this side, whatever. Okay. On a currency swap deal with UK bank as crisis peaked in 2020. Okay. So Barclays can enforce a $131 million judgment to recover unpaid bills from embattled NMC Health founder Bavaguthu Raghuram Shetty. Okay, nice, very big name actually. Following a failure of the foreign exchange venture, a British judge has ruled. Nowadays, a lot of British high courts are judging, do not judge. How dare you judge? They are judging a lot of stuff. They judged, coffee has not set in. Yeah, Dubai ruler against his wife that she was asking 1 point some billion pounds because she wants to take care of. She wants 600 horses and more than $500,000 worth of shopping per month. So anyway, our British people, it seems, are very bored during the pandemic, so they have to do a lot of work. Anyway, so it seems that even our ex-UAE resident and current Indian resident, Mr. Bavaguthu Raghuram Shetty, has to pay. Okay, so now the UK-based international bank has sought to claw back its losses after the businessman's Abu Dhabi-based UAE exchange reneged. I don't know what does that mean. Maybe I'll do a little Google search. Or a currency swap agreement in March 2020 with his empire on a brink of collapse. Okay, so his empire has already collapsed and they didn't get their currency exchange. And so now he has to pay the money. Barclays gave UAEEC more than 129 million in less than a week. Wow, good money, nice money. But never received expected currencies in exchange. As share trading in the parent company Finablr was suspended in the London Stock Exchange amid a massive accounting scandal. People are saying, people who got in touch with me, that this was someone internally who leaked. There's too much of leaking going on, like, nude pics and all that stuff. Not in UAE Exchange, where normally celebrities, they leaked information. So in this, it seems some guy or some girl in UAE Exchange was very pissed off with BR Shetty, decided to teach him a lesson because BR Shetty and his wife, they had a very unique style of management, which was very effective when it was in the UAE. If you terminated someone who was right up there at the top, you could make their lives miserable. You could withhold their salaries. You could prevent them from joining a competitor. Basically, they could destroy your life. And in the days that BR Shetty and his wife were very powerful, they made sure that a lot of people's lives were made miserable. And it's not that they are bad, but this is how the law of the jungle operates. But now, when you're in power, you can get away with all this. But when you do not have power, let's say you have power and you lost it, then get ready for all those injured people to come back. But in this particular case, what had happened was BR Shetty was already playing with all the loopholes of the system in UAE. He was playing with all the loopholes of the banks. I've heard from, not only heard, I've interacted with people who have actually been his partner. They actually contacted me, they spoke to me, they shared, secret information about him. Some of the stuff that I couldn't say at that time, and I waited for news to come out, like his son being in prison and, affairs and all that stuff. And so some of it I could speak, some I decided not to. And then there are these shocking bits which I guess I just don't want to say it for whatever reason of safety or whatever else. So a lot of people come forward and there's a lot of information being shared, some confidential, some very openly. But then, once you're no longer in power and the enemies are no longer afraid of you, they spit it all out. So BR Shetty had a very colorful life, and you can't blame it, because when you have the money, if I was as rich as him, maybe I'd have even more colorful life. And he has lived a good life. He has had a very good life. However, in his quest to become very big, very, very powerful, he flew too close to the sun. And I think the biggest mistakes he tried to do is rub shoulders with politicians like Modi, try to impress Modi. I remember when Modi and Yusuf Ali sat with, BR Shetty and Yusuf Ali sat with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You need to pay a special fee in order to get the audience of the Prime Minister of India. He was impressing him with all these big, you can see the interview, it is online, that he will give $11 billion he'll invest in Jammu Kashmir, and he will build billions and billions worth of stuff he'll invest in India. And obviously you must pay Modi, some election donations you have to give. I'm sure he must have given some, or he must have promised them. But overall, he was flying too close to the sun, and eventually, the wax melts and you crash. So I think where his empire collapsed completely is when he decided to go global. Okay? As long as he was in UAE, he was safe. When he started to make his presence felt in India, he actually went with Prime Minister Narendra Modi to all his elections, and he was, saying big, nice things about Modi. And obviously, because he joined Toastmasters and public speaking, he wanted to keep talking. In fact, one of the events when BR Shetty was the main sponsor for the event in Toastmasters, he was supposed to give a talk of 5 minutes, and if you go over time in Toastmasters, they tell you stop. They actually signal to you, thank you very much, your 5 minutes are up, or they show you the red light. BR Shetty spoke for 45 minutes and nobody had the gall or the guts to tell him stop. Well, I guess rules don't apply to people who have money. So you can't help it. He's a very powerful guy, very big guy. So you can't tell him, shut up. He's paying the event. Imagine if you tell the sponsor, yeah, your time is up, shut up, don't speak. Maybe he'll not pay the fees, of the sponsorship. So anyway, coming back to this. So after he decided to shine brightly in the global markets, the minute you suddenly appear out of nowhere, you'll get a lot of people very interested in your business, and they will employ a lot of professional agencies. And that was where, within NMC, Finablr, whatever, the employees who are there, one of them said, or a couple of them said, okay, we have some nice information, juicy information if you would like, but at a cost. It comes at a premium. So they paid the money and they leaked the information. That is how all the internal mails were leaked to these, these investigative journalists and to that company. What? Muddy Waters, yeah. They actually had internal emails. How do you get that? Unless someone leaked it, right? Okay. So, court in Dubai ruled in favor of the bank in April last year, prompting Barclays to go to a high court in London to enforce the ruling and tap the cricket lovers' frozen assets around the world. But I'm pretty sure they didn't get all his assets, because he has quite a number of them. Huge, massive. From someone who is very close to BR Shetty, who has told me this, he has lots of money. He doesn't have to work for 10 lifetimes. That much can be assured. He is very, very rich. He's doing, in fact, a young man who went and met BR Shetty, he shared a couple of nice photographs, very personal photograph. I just told this young man, listen, uh, don't do this. He was even trying to impress me. If you want any confidential information, I'll give it to you. I was like, listen, just don't do this. Don't get into this game of confidential information I'll leak. You might not live to see another day. So just leave it to the journalist. He was a young man. So he gave me a couple of photographs of BR Shetty and him. And it was very funny to see BR Shetty. Obviously, he's old. He's going to be 80 years old. He is, suit button was all open. But the funny thing which I noticed is he still had that ribbon. He had the ribbon which the government gave him, Padma Shri or whatever. I guess it's of no use. I don't know why. Just like these army captains, they tend to wear all these medals and show the ribbon, and I guess they want to show, I've got this big award, so he likes to show it. But he was looking like a broken man. And in Karnataka, I think that is southern part of India where he's from, he has been trying to go for all these events where he's still trying to live his glory days, where he's giving donations and all that. And yes, there are these fake fair-weathered friends who want to still associate with him to get some benefit and all that. So they'll obviously give some fake applause. But I guess that man is still addicted to fame and he still wants to be respected. I just wish he would keep a low profile and retire. He has done every single thing that you and I can only dream of. It's like his life has been a fairy tale of epic proportions, where not only he had money, not only he had the pleasures of life, the respect, everything he had, but greed knows no bounds, and that's why he lost everything. Okay. So they include his only known English asset. His only known English asset is a £4 million or $5.4 million penthouse close to the famous Lloyd's cricket ground in northwest London. The flat is owned by Mr. Shetty through a British Virgin Islands company, Multi Skies Limited, according to the land registry documents. Oh, many of our hardworking Indians have all these, British Virgin Island companies, shell companies as they call it, I think, yeah. So 5.4 million is just one house. It's chump change. It's not anything. But then he still has 126 million left. How are they going to get that? That's a very big question. And like I told you, BR Shetty has millions and millions and millions still unaccounted for, which is floating around in all different parts of the world. He's a very intelligent man and he doesn't need to work a single day. He doesn't have to be bothered. I doubt they're going to get all this unless, of course, by some miracle, he reveals it to them, which he will not. He will take it to his grave. And that's how it will be. I don't know how much his children would get, all his daddy's money. But if they do get, great for them, because they don't have to work for a single day. Good money from daddy, why do you have to worry? That's why for me, I'm not going to leave any money just like that. I'm going to enjoy everything. Let my, child work. Wife will get. Child has to, just education. That's about it. Like shack. That's what I believe. You should not give your children everything. You spoil them. That's why his children are basically spoiled. Anyway, but they're good children. They're not bad. That's as far as people who know them have told me. Only they are very egoistic, noses up, because a lot of money. Okay. Anyway, the Indian-born businessman who signed a guarantee, you should never do that. But he had to do that because he wanted the floating money. And mind you, UAE Exchange was so powerful, so big, it was impossible to fail. Just imagine that. It was that big. So he signed a guarantee in 2015 to pay off any debts to Barclays, including by the UAE Exchange, had tried to delay the ruling, claiming that the bank was responsible for misconduct and had connived. I have to learn, my English has gone down. Connived with fraudsters to rip off the company. See, end of the day in the corporate world, nobody's friend. Everyone's trying to do everything else. But then again, the greater of two evils always has to pay the price. So BR Shetty has to pay the price. Bank gave you the money. You signed the deal. That's the bottom line. Whether they played around with you, whether they manipulated the market, nobody gives a damn. Okay. But judges in Dubai and London have rejected the claims and his request for further hearings into the debt. Mr. Justice Henshaw on Monday said his attempt to put off his judgment was a delaying tactic, which of course in the in the law world of courts, lawyers, you play all these games. Okay. Dr. Shetty, who claims to be financially paralyzed, obviously because of all the shit that he has done, because of the series of freezing orders imposed by courts in the UK and India, he said he will continue his legal battle. He is already almost 80 years old. What is he going to continue? But anyway, he wants to continue until he's dead. By the way, this is as far as I've heard. His wife is extremely sick. I would not wish her anything bad. He is also I guess his TRT, his health is also declining. He did put out a nice photograph where he was getting a nice shave, which doesn't cost much. The barber came and visited him at his house. I did get that photograph. But then again, he's an old man and, he's holding on to every bit of penny that he has until he dies. The 79-year-old further claimed that he was stranded in Mangalore. He's not stranded. He doesn't want to fucking leave that place, because if he leaves that place, well, everyone is going to come hunting down for him. If he could escape, that would be the best thing. But I don't think in India they're going to let him go so scot-free, because he also has to pay a lot of money. And when you promise politicians, I will give you this, I'll give you that, they'll be like, no, they are not going to leave you. And he did try to say in the media, that was Daiji Dubai, that he is, Prime Minister Narendra Modi endorsed him. He's good friends with him. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is friends with nobody. He's only friends with himself and his political party. In the game of politics, nobody's your friend. Okay. So a spokesman for his legal team said Dr. Shetty will be appealing this judgment and trying to kill time and keep his money until he dies. And obviously they're being paid to say this. Okay. Finablr, payments and foreign exchange group, lists UAE Exchange, Express Money. Just imagine such big brands those days. Money, Remit to India, and Bayan Pay among its subsidiaries. Now they are almost worthless. But it's good for other exchange companies, because I spoke to a couple of these big boys in these exchange companies. They were very happy to know that UAE Exchange is no longer there, because all their customers came to them and their business actually grew by 60%. So that's big. Some of them got a little bit of promotion, little bit, not very much, because COVID was still there. But they expanded considerably, especially in the Middle East. It was previously owned by Travelex Foreign Exchange business, but bought by Mr. Shetty for £1 billion in 2014. All these acquisitions proved to be useless, like Skype's acquisition by Microsoft and Nokia by Microsoft. Total fuck all. These acquisitions are very bad ideas. Shouldn't do all this. But it was taken over by its lenders in a restructuring deal in July 2020. And then UAE, which once again is nobody's friend, and the sheikhs, which of course are nobody's friends, they sold this nicely after taking all their, they took all the money, whatever they could, and then they said, oh, it's bankrupt, we'll liquidate all his assets. They took everything and then they said liquidate. And then they sold it to an Israeli company for $1 or something. I think they gave all the information. What else is left? Okay, Mr. Shetty has accepted that serious fraud and wrongdoing had taken place in Finablr and NMC Health. Well, fraud and wrongdoing was there. It's not that he was not aware of it. It's just that when he got caught, he would portray himself as a victim. Mr. Shetty has brought legal action. Why are they calling him Mr. Shetty in this article? As if he's some Mr. Shetty. Like, hey, B. Shetty. Okay, Shetty. Okay, but I'll read the article. Mr. Shetty has brought legal action in the US alleging that former executives siphoned off more than $5 billion over a period of years. Well, he can take any legal action. In the US, they'll be very happy. At least some money is coming. Lawyers are without a job. COVID, the business has been very bad. So they'll be very happy to have a legal case, but he's not going to win anything. He has further claimed that the former managers forged and signed off transactions without his knowledge, including the 2012 Barclays agreement. Can be possible that they signed off this transaction, but why the hell would he give signing authority? So either that was very stupid, or he's simply trying to play with the loopholes so that he can delay, like they said, delay tactics. But a judge in Dubai last year found that his claims about the forged documents were entirely without substance, and there was no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Barclays had been involved in dishonesty or fraud. So there's no evidence. Yeah, because obviously you've taken the money, paid back. The National has further revealed that NMC Health has signed off on payments to struggling businesses run by members of Mr. Shetty's family before the healthcare brand collapsed. So now his family members are also, their neck is on the line. NMC Health, one of the biggest privately owned healthcare groups in UAE, had 200 healthcare units in 17 countries before being placed into administration in April last year. I remember whenever they used to introduce BR Shetty, they would say a legend who has carved his niche in the sands of time. Wow. They would make him feel like he's a god and he was basking in all the glory. Mr. Shetty, a visionary, he would be looking like this. Who has, carved his niche in the sands of time, he'd be like, ta-da. But now, wah. Sound effect changes, It followed the discovery of more than 6.6 billion of debts, which is going to get written off after he dies. More than 3 times higher than the level of its last failed accounts. Okay, so this is the sad dying story of BR Shetty. The only thing left by the way, in his photograph, he is no longer wearing that Padma Shri thing. I think it's gone. Poor thing. Anyway, nobody is going to get the money. The 6.6 billion is going to be bad debts. Mr. Shetty is only waiting for him to grow old and die. Anyway, he's 80 years old. He has achieved everything that he possibly could. Maybe as a human being, he's a great guy. As a businessman, he was very ruthless. He made a lot of enemies. Oh, you can't help it. He's not here to make friends. He has lived his life. He doesn't have to be bothered about anything. But the only mistake that he made is went too close to the sun. And when you make a mistake, you always make a big one. And with that, he destroyed his legacy. He destroyed everything that he worked for. And now he'll be known as one of those chapters of caution. It'll be like once upon a time, there was this great visionary who just fucked it up big time. Anyway, this is the report. I thought I'd share it with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And yes, do the YouTube thingy, like, share, bullshit, all that nonsense. Okay? Any questions, let me know. Love to hear from you. And this is me signing off. You guys take care.